Today, I want to share with you an ancient practice that has helped countless souls find peace within life's most turbulent moments. It's called the Rain Practice, and like the gentle precipitation that nourishes the earth, this wisdom can transform even our most difficult emotions into sources of growth and understanding. But first, let me tell you a story. There once lived a young monk in ancient Burma who struggled terribly with anger. Every small irritation would ignite a fire within him that seemed impossible to extinguish. His fellow monks avoided him, and his teacher grew concerned. One monsoon season, as torrential rains battered the monastery, the young monk sat in meditation, his mind as turbulent as the storm outside. Thunder crashed overhead, and he felt his familiar rage rising, this time at the rain itself for disturbing his practice. His wise teacher approached and sat beside him in the downpour, completely unbothered by getting soaked. "Tell me," the teacher said softly, "what does the earth do when the rain falls?" It receives it," the young monk replied, confused. "Does the earth push the rain away? Does it judge whether this drop is good and that drop is bad?" "No, teacher, it simply receives." "And what happens to the rain once the earth receives it?" The young monk paused, watching the water soak into the ground. "It nourishes everything. It becomes part of life itself." The teacher smiled. "This is how we must learn to be with our emotions, dear friend, not as enemies to be fought, but as rain to be received." This story captures the essence of what we now call the Rain Practice, a beautiful meditation technique that draws from multiple Buddhist traditions, particularly the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh and Tara Brach, who have both offered their own interpretations of this ancient wisdom. The rain practice isn't about eliminating difficult emotions. That would be like trying to stop the weather. Instead, it's about fundamentally changing our relationship with these emotions, learning to receive them as the earth receives rain. You see, in our modern world, we've developed some rather peculiar ideas about emotions. We categorize them as good or bad. We try to maximize the pleasant ones and eliminate the unpleasant ones. But what if I told you that this very approach is what causes much of our suffering? The Buddha understood something profound about the nature of human experience. As he taught, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. The rain of difficult emotions will fall. That's simply part of being human. But how we receive that rain determines whether it becomes nourishing water or a flood that overwhelms us. Let me share with you what RAIN stands for, and then we'll practice together. R is for recognition, simply acknowledging what is present without immediately trying to fix or change it. A is for acceptance, allowing the emotion to exist without resistance, like the earth allowing rain to fall. I is for investigation, exploring the emotion with gentle curiosity rather than harsh judgment. N is for nurturing, offering ourselves the compassion we would give a dear friend in distress. As Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully expressed, when another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself and his suffering is spilling over. He does not need punishment, he needs help. This same compassion, dear friend, is what we must learn to offer ourselves. Now, I invite you to practice with me. Find a comfortable position and let's explore this ancient wisdom together. Begin by taking 3 deep breaths with me. Let your body settle, like sediment settling in still water. Now, I want you to gently bring to mind a difficult emotion you've been carrying lately. It might be anxiety about the future, sadness about a loss, anger about an injustice, or perhaps a deep loneliness that seems to have no clear cause. Don't force anything, just let whatever wants to arise come forward. Recognition. First, we simply name what's here. You might say silently, I recognize that anxiety is here, or I notice anger arising. This isn't about solving anything yet, it's like acknowledging the rain that's beginning to fall. Can you feel the difference between fighting an emotion and simply recognizing its presence? Acceptance. Now, rather than immediately trying to change or fix this feeling, can you create a little space around it? Imagine your heart as vast as the sky, with room enough for any weather that might pass through. You might whisper to yourself, this emotion is welcome here, or I don't have to like this feeling, but I can let it be. Remember, acceptance doesn't mean resignation, it means stopping the exhausting war against reality. Investigation. With gentle curiosity, explore this emotion as you might examine a flower or a piece of art. Where do you feel it in your body? What thoughts accompany it? What stories is your mind telling about it? Pema Chodron reminds us, you are the sky, everything else is just the weather. As you investigate, remember that you are the vast awareness observing this emotional weather, not the weather itself. Notice if your mind wants to analyze or fix. That's natural. Just gently return to curious observation. What is the texture of this emotion? Its temperature, its movement, or stillness? Finally, offer yourself the same kindness you would offer a beloved friend experiencing this pain. You might place a hand on your heart, or imagine surrounding yourself with warm, golden light. What words of comfort do you need to hear right now? Perhaps, this is a moment of suffering. Suffering is part of life. May I be kind to myself in this moment. Or you might simply send yourself the loving intention. May I be at peace with what I cannot change. May I find strength to change what I can. May I have wisdom to know the difference. Take a few more breaths, feeling how it is to hold difficult emotions not as enemies, but as visitors in the vast space of your awareness. As we begin to close our practice, reflect on this truth. Just as the earth doesn't become less fertile when storms pass over it, you don't become less whole when difficult emotions move through you. In fact, like rain nourishing the soil, these challenging feelings often carry within them exactly what we need for growth. The Rain practice teaches us something revolutionary, that we can be intimate with our pain without being destroyed by it. We can acknowledge our anger without becoming angry people. We can feel our sadness without losing our capacity for joy. This doesn't happen overnight, dear friend. Like learning any skill, developing this new relationship with emotions takes patience and practice. Be gentle with yourself as you learn to receive the rain of your inner life with the same grace that the earth receives the rain of the outer world. As the Zen teacher Suzuki Roshi once said, each of you is perfect the way you are, and you can use a little improvement. Your emotions, even the difficult ones, are part of your perfect, imperfect humanity, and with practice, they can become teachers rather than tormentors, allies rather than enemies. Remember, every time you practice rain, you're not just helping yourself, you're developing the capacity to hold space for others in their storms as well. This is how wisdom ripples outward, how ancient practices become modern medicine for our troubled world. Thank you for sharing this time with me today, for having the courage to sit with what is rather than what you wish were true.